Good morning. How are you? What's going on? Well, it's Friday. Kind of down here it's kind of, well, the morning's been rainy. But, in the matter of a half an hour, you could go from heavy rain to brilliant sunshine, and steamy weather conditions. But right now, temperature's comfortable it's raining off and on, you know. Like my experience this morning is it wasn't raining. I went downstairs. It was cloudy. It was overcast. It looked like it could rain any minute. I walked outside, started raining. We had a short, Lucy and I had a very short walk for the morning. It took a little longer than a short walk should, except I have to walk uphill, which is not my forte, as they say. And then just as I started to come back up, I was about halfway up, it started to rain again. Then when I got to the house, to the parking lot, and started walking towards the apartment, it stopped raining. This is Colombia. Weather is very similar. The only time I've ever seen like this is on Long Island, where it would rain on one side of the street and not the other. I mean, serious heavy rain on one side of the street, and the other side of the street would be bone dry. That's what you get in Colombia. Weird, screwed up weather, and it moves very fast. I mean, we're talking serious speed with this, So you have to, be prepared when you go out. People don't seem to bother the rain too much, Motorcyclists keep going. They put on rain suits. In the United States, the roads get so slippery during the rain. I mean, you have tremendous car pileups and everything else. It's just a different world down here, weather-wise. Okay, so I'm really questioning now. My big question's always been, how can people believe Donald Trump? You see the information that's out there. Okay, and I guess you have to decide, is this true or is that true, Well, and I want to look at something. I don't look at one source. I look at several sources, and I go to them. And then, like I said, I'll see a story on YouTube or in my one of my newsletters or something like that. And if I don't see it from CNN, ABC, MSNBC, or CBS, any of those other major networks, I kind of like discount it. I think it's just a ploy to get people to click on the story, or to fill time up or something like that. So I don't really get too involved in that. But it's difficult when you research something like that and you find out that Trump's lying. Or for a fact, having seen it live or something like that, I'll tell you my experiences with something like that is the first time was during the Reagan administration when they had the Iran controversy scandal sort of thing, And I'm sitting there watching TV and a bulletin comes on. Now, I don't know why I was watching TV, because that's not something I usually do in the afternoon, but it was in the afternoon or the morning or something like that. And this bulletin comes on, and you see Reagan standing there. And Reagan is not right. Okay, he doesn't know the question. He was asked a question. He answered something entirely different, and you could tell he was confused and upset. And this is when Ronald was getting his early stages of dementia, I believe. He was not right, and I felt bad for the guy. I said he shouldn't have been out there. Okay. But the big deal was this one big question. I'm not going to go into, because I don't remember the question. I just remember the situation where he answered something else altogether. His answer really didn't have much to do with the question. All right, so I'm watching the evening news like I used to do, 7 o'clock news, And Ronnie's press conference comes around again. And this is what apparently he did this morning. And I'm watching it, kind of bored. And then all of a sudden I realized they edited it. They cut it out, and they made it seem like he was answering the right question and like everything was fine. His facial expressions weren't, he wasn't confused looking. They edited out all the parts where he looked like he was, didn't know where he was. That was the first time I realized they mess with stuff like that. So when you say, do I believe Donald Trump when he stands up there and says something? No, I don't. I don't believe him because I met his sister, the judge, one time, and we had a little conversation, and she told me he's a liar. And he says he can't really help himself. That's just what he does. And I mean, she wasn't saying it really derogatory. She said that's just the way he is. He's a liar, and she didn't like the guy. So that's a clue right there. Okay. Then as my technology in social media became more and more prominent, I started looking at the speeches and stuff and the stuff he was saying. I said, I remember that. That's not what he said. He's lying now, or he was one of these two stories he's lying in. So I started to say, okay, this is ridiculous. This guy's lying about everything. He doesn't know what the truth is, and I believe that. I've had friends of mine, or people I've known. I shouldn't say friends of mine. I said people I've been associated with or known that are pathological, what they would be termed a pathological liar. They don't understand the truth. They make up shit all the time. But it was pretty harmless shit, picking up how they, talking about women and stuff like that. It was pretty harmless. This stuff is serious. This stuff is causing people to get to go out and do bad shit. Like January 6th and everything else when he stood up there and said his election was stolen from him. It actually was stolen from him by his own people's incompetence and by his incompetence in office. That's what made re-election for him impossible. So he comes back the second time. Now he's not even trying to hide it. He lies constantly. Doesn't care. I think he reminds me a lot of the situation with Ronald Reagan when I was talking to you about the beginning of this video, where he's exhibiting signs of I'm going to say dementia. Reagan had Alzheimer's eventually, so I don't know if you get dementia first and you get Alzheimer's. I kind of thought they were sort of very similar, except one was more of a very dangerous disease. Dementia is just sort of a condition that you go through life. I probably have gone through I probably have a little bit of it now. I don't really know that much, because I have difficulty when I sit down to write a book or write a letter or something, remembering what I said, and I have difficulty in this video sometimes where I'll forget something I said. So I don't know whether that's dementia or some other form of mental illness. I know I'm crazy, but everybody tells me I'm crazy. But I kind of like that. It's sort of like a badge of honor around here. All right. Now we get to Hegseth. Apparently nobody likes this guy on either side of the aisle, So my question is, and people are asking this, and I saw the question on CNN. I didn't read the answer. I just saw the headline. Why is he still around? Why is Hegseth still there? Well, in my opinion, he's still there because he's a yes man. He'll swear to anything that Trump says. All right. Now he's involved in this controversy over the second strike on this vote. Now, policy says, maritime law says you shouldn't have done that. It's against maritime law. It's against everything. Why did they do it? Now he's blaming an admiral. My feeling about this, knowing Hegseth is a bullshitter, he doesn't lie about everything. He lies, only lies about something if the truth will affect him adversely. I believe that something is going wrong with those strikes. I'm not sure all those boats have cocaine on them or not. I'm not sure you can say definitively they were all headed for the United States. I will say that something else is going on there, and they're hiding it. And when you start to lie about things that people have seen, I mean, you have to be stupid not to have seen this stuff. The videos of the survivors clinging to the wreckage and whatnot, and then you hear they hit it with another missile to blow it out of the water. Why? Why is there no evidence of cocaine being brought to the surface or something when these boats are sunk to justify Trump's actions? Because there is no justification for it. There is no evidence. This is something that, in my opinion, they're hiding something. And that's the stupidity. If it's a real honest operation, just give all the information out. Everybody's a hero and everybody's cheering, It appears Americans like the strikes on that. But let me tell you something. More cocaine comes across the border, the Mexican border, and through Canada. Canada used to be the heroin highway. I don't know whether it still is or not. I don't have any of my teenage friends anymore that were, involved in that stuff back in the day. And now they grow marijuana everywhere, so that's not an issue anymore. In the fact that they used to lace it with a lot of stuff. If you buy it legally, it's not laced with anything. It's just good, strong pot, which I have absolutely nothing against whatsoever. I think it's cool, I guess you would say. I don't know. I personally stopped doing it a long time ago because I started to get insecure, paranoid, Didn't get there with alcohol. I just quietly pass out, eventually. Or I should say noisily pass out. But, no. But somehow or another, you have to find the truth out, and I think people are basically lazy now. I think Americans have become extremely lazy. They watch one particular news show. That's their favorite news show. Like people that watch Fox. Fox can't do no wrong. And that bothers me. When I used to sit in the bar and have discussions with some of my friends, we discussed politics one time, and I asked one of my friends, and then I've asked several people since this particular, they asked it the first time, but they come up to me and I asked them, I said, why are you a Republican? And they turn around and say, why are you a Democrat? I said, I'm really not. I said, I vote Democratic to support my mother in her job with the city. I don't want to cause any grief. Well, he says, how do they know? It's a secret ballot. No, it's not. And I'll go through that sometime if you want me to and show you how it's done. But, no, I'm an independent. But I asked, so getting back to my friend, and he answers me, he says, well, my father was a Republican, and he said it was good for the family and good for the business and everything like that. I said, do you actually know anything about the Republican Party? I said, do you ever look at the issues and decide for yourself, or do you just decide because it's a Republican issue, it's got to be voted yes? And that's the problem we have. Republicans don't look at the issue. They look at the fact that if the Republicans want it, it's got to be right. Nobody ever really looks and studies the issues. Now, I'm not saying that everything the Republicans have ever put up for it was bad. Some of the stuff they put up, there's a lot of good stuff. Doesn't mean they get it through, though, because the majority of the people vote the way Republicans vote. Not with their own hearts, not with their own minds, not with what their constituents think. And their constituents, if they're a Republican, don't study the bill, don't study the options, don't study anything. They just vote, yes, this is a good bill, the Democrats did that with Bill Bradley's cable bill, and it turned out it's not a good bill. It cost millions of dollars to people. Okay, over the years, it was not good. I don't know whether he knew it was what was going to happen with it or not, but or they put a rider in on it that screwed everything up. See, that's the other side of the coin. All right, you never know about this. You see a bill and you say, "Oh, I'm for this bill." Well, it gets to the House floor, the Senate's chambers. I don't know why they call them different names, but anyhow, maybe the Senate's chambers is because they're full of shit, so they call it like a chamber, bathroom situation from the old day. Okay, anyhow, they have this thing called riders that they attach to the bill, and that bill and that rider definitely is not a good idea. Those riders screw people, okay? The bill might be good, but the riders help interpret the actions of the bill, and in the long run, they change the bill slightly, and not a great deal, but enough to screw somebody, like they did with the cable bill. All right? So, that's why I don't understand that. Why don't they... why don't people make up their own minds, really? Why are they... I don't know. I know... I'll go back to tell you why I became I was voting Democratic and everything. I didn't... And why I became a member of the Democratic County Committee, where I learned a ton of shit about how useless these committees you are unless you're a senior politician. But that they don't really care. They do things to get elected. And they don't really care about the people. They want the job, They want the free lunches. They want the housing subsidies. They want all this stuff for themselves that they get. Free health insurance for life. For life, folks. If you're a congressman or a senator, you get health insurance for life. Not for a couple of days or not for a year like we do now, normal people do. You get it for life. And you don't pay for it. So I do have problems with politicians, as you understand. Have I met some good ones? Yes. And other than that incident with Bradley and his, who was a famous basketball player for the New York Knicks, by the way, and a Rhodes Scholar. The reason I have my problem is the cable bill got screwed, and then I read it. It was the riders that really screwed everything. But anyhow. He did me a solid one time, helped me help a friend with some information. They just got me information that nobody wanted to give me, and his office got it for me. So yeah, I liked Bill Bradley. I thought he would have even with that fucked up cable bill, I think he would have made a good president. But health issues with his wife and some other things in his background apparently got, There was a reason he was called Dollar Bill, and I'm not going to get into that, but, those of you that know, all right? So anyhow, look, this is it for me today, Friday. Bye. Hey, hit the subscribe button, folks. There'll be some more boring shit tomorrow. We go over the football tomorrow, too, so you guys all take care, have fun. I hope it's not raining where you are. And this, look, if you get a chance, I'm not going to yell at you if you don't look at it tomorrow or whatever, or Sunday before the games. This is going to be a very busy shopping weekend for everybody, I hope. I hope the Christmas shopping's all right. I hope you're getting ready for Christmas. Those that haven't decorated their houses and whatnot, that will probably do it this weekend. And you'll see, like we have down here, it's an amazing light show down here. I won't get to see the famous Medellin River lights this year because my wife can't go there. She can't walk, neither can I really. So anyhow, in the meantime, I'm saying, hey, listen, guys, have a great weekend, or stop by tomorrow if you want, if you're interested in the football for the weekend or whatever. I don't know how much other stuff I'll have to talk about, but have a great weekend. Hit that subscribe button, and I will see you, if not tomorrow, Monday. Have a good time.